So in the past I've talked about a couple Spider-Man things. If you were around 2012, you would have saw my Spider-Man movie reviews, which have been deleted since then because they were terrible. I'm probably going to re-review the original trilogy and do it right. But first I have to talk about something even more important. Something of my childhood, something that will never be forgotten. The two Spider-Man video games. And by the way, I got a Spider-Man shirt, finally! Remember my Amazing Spider-Man 2 video? I was talking about never having a damn Spider-Man shirt? Well, I do now. So, Spider-Man by Activision and Neversoft, who did Tony Hawk games? After this, I'm pretty sure. And Spider-Man 2, Inter-Electro, same company. It's funny if you think about it, the second Spider-Man game has Electro, second Spider-Man movie has Electro. Amazing anyway. Amazing Spider-Man anyway. These games are something that are of huge nostalgia and a big part of my childhood and will never be forgotten. I'm going to get a little closer and talk to you about this. This is serious, damn it. When I was growing up, I was, what, 4 years old? And that's not something where the kids nowadays are like, oh, I've got my iPad and I'm playing Minecraft. No, because there's no real emotional attachment. In 20 years, the kids nowadays are going to look back like, remember Minecraft? Yeah, all that digging. Like, I don't get how you would look back really fondly on that game considering there's no story. It's just, I built a lot of cool things, which is, I guess that's the replacement for Lego, which is sad to say because Lego still exists. I can look back as a kid and be like, yeah, I actually did. I had some Star Wars Lego and a couple of Spider-Man Legos, built some cool things, and then because I'm OCD like that, I didn't want to take them apart. No, I had left them built, put them up somewhere, and if they broke, I didn't put them back together because I was frustrated at that point. And nowadays kids are going to be like, yeah, Minecraft, I built so many cool things, which, sure, but are they going to be able to go back and say, oh, all these great video games with great stories that were just so much fun to play all the time. You shouldn't be playing video games all the time, but it happens anyway. As a kid, yeah, I got enough time outside and stuff, but I played these games my fair share. I remember waking up, playing them at wake up at 7, have breakfast real quick, get dressed, and I'd do it quick because I wanted to play this game until the bus showed up, because it'd show up at 7:40. I had 40 minutes from waking up till the bus got there, working my morning routine, and just play Spider-Man 2. Like, I gotta beat this one level, I gotta try it because it's so much fun, and then the bus shows up and I web swing to the bus. That never happened. I don't want to be that person to go, my generation had the best games ever growing up, but if you think of it, like, to me anyway, it's like Spyro, Year of the Dragon, Crash Bandicoot, the classic ones, the first 3, and Crash Team Racing, stuff like that. Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, Inter-Electro, Toy Story 3, Tomorrow Never Dies, sort of. GoldenEye was one that I didn't personally grow up with, but everyone in the 90s is like, GoldenEye's the game. The SpongeBob games, Battle for Bikini Bottom, and the SpongeBob SquarePants movie game, Ultimate Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2 the movie game, the original, Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie universe game. And then later, you know, I sort of grew up into my teens with things like Grand Theft Auto 4 and 5, but my childhood games like those that I discussed, they're like some of the best there is. In this game, Spider-Man is framed because someone resembling Spider-Man, not even resembling, exactly looking like Spider-Man, shows up, steals something of Dr. Octavius's, uses it to create fog all over New York City, which pretty much just as a basis so that when you play the game you have to swing on rooftops, and if you fall into this fog and I guess you're dead. It's poison fog. It is the mist from Stephen King. I don't know. Spider-Man goes on the adventure to figure out what's going on. Turns out Doc Ock is teaming up with Carnage. You got Venom in this game. Scorpion shows up. There's some great classic villains. Rhino. Black Cat is in this as an ally. You see the Human Torch and Daredevil. This game features so many awesome characters. Mysterio! Mysterio shows up. I think more Fantastic Four characters show up. Or no, it was Captain America shows up in this. And you got a great game. The structure of it is so good. Nowadays you play the Spider-Man games, it's like they are putting way too much effort into trying to make this web swinging realistic and they take all the fun out of it. The Amazing Spider-Man just fucked it up. Meanwhile, Ultimate Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2 did it really good. But this one, even, the simplicity is what helps it because it's just, you jump up in the air and start web swinging off the clouds, which I always, even as a kid, was like, he's not touching anything. It's the clouds. What's he doing? I don't get it. But still, it's just fun to just be like, okay, go into this building, drop, next building, drop. Cool. The fighting, very just basic punch, punch, kick, kick. If you gotta shoot a web blast, like a basketball, or more akin to a, what's the damn thing called? Medicine ball made of webbing. Just throw it at some, like, poof. Or just web them up and they drop, tied up. Like, it's simplistic but good in its structure. You go inside, and it works out so much better than the new games. Also, if you remember my Amazing Spider-Man video game review, I hated indoor Spider-Man, because every time we went inside, I wanted to die. This one, when you're inside, it works. He can swing up to the ceiling. The camera does it right where you see your guy crawling on the ceiling, and it's basically like if the camera was inside the ceiling looking through transparently. And it's cool because there's a little like white beam of light showing where your guy would be on the ground. So if you want to drop down and get a guy, you're not going to do it, end up landing in front of him like, and get shot. No, they did it right. They did it smart. You can climb in vents occasionally. He made a Die Hard joke going in a vent. Nerdgasm. Spider-Man made a Die Hard joke. And I think it was in both games, because in Spider-Man 2... I know he did in Spider-Man 2, but I'm trying to remember if he did it in this one or just Spider-Man 2. I think it's both. But he has a lot of great pop culture references. And like, just the first level is what I'm talking about. You swing up to this building where there's a bank robbery. You go inside. You find the bomb they're going to blow it up with. You throw it in a safe and lock it in to maintain the explosion, which is actually a clever idea. And all these other levels. The lizards in this game, you got to go in the sewers, fight his lizard brethren, which were scary to me. There's some puzzles because Venom's in this. You get a great chase with Venom chasing him. There's a great part that even shows up sort of in the movie Killing Him Softly, where in the game Spider-Man follows Venom into a building, you go in the window, and then the camera's just falling outside the building, and you're just, it shakes a little, and you're hearing rumblings like they're going through him smashing stuff, and you hear someone like, oh my goodness, and Venom's like, sorry lady. Because Venom's actually a comedian in this game, sort of, which I didn't mind. And then they jump out the other end of the window and keep the chase going. Like, that's really fun to me. They run into a bathroom, you hear a hot woman scream, I'm assuming, sorry I didn't see a thing, keeps going. Like that, something like that I want to put in movies. There is puzzles where, oh, there's this water thing and you have to do some puzzle work to make sure you don't drown or to save Mary Jane and all this. There's interesting structures to levels. It's challenging. I lost a couple times, but it's not too hard. In fact, you could get through it in a couple hours. Can the game get tedious? Possibly once or twice in a level or two. It might get tedious with just certain tasks you gotta do where it's like, you gotta go through all this underground tunnels where it's like, you gotta get to Octavius's base, and it's like going across the Great Wall of China, basically in an underwater tube, and there's these guns shooting at you. So you gotta run down the ramp, go, smash it, smash the next one, keep going, smash, smash, next, smash, smash, and you gotta do that through 3 layers of this tube tunnel thing, and it just gets annoying and tedious. But aside from that, the game's pretty well layered. It's got great variety to the levels. It's got a good sense of humor. For the cheat codes, which, you know, back in the day it wasn't all DLC shit. Yeah, DLC's ruining gaming because no one's trying to beat it anymore. It's just like, oh, you want that cool thing? Give us 20 bucks. It's like, okay, yeah. Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Arkham Origins, I gave them money to get it because that's how you do it now. But remember back in the day, it's like, if you beat the game, you unlock like this Spider-Man suit, or you do this challenge, or beat this game on hard and you unlock that. And that's what this game did. But you can also do cheat codes, which I did because I couldn't beat it on hard or something because I was a small child back then. And the cheat codes, Stan Lee spelled backwards and Aunt May spelled backwards. One of them's for this game, one of them's for the next game, but that is genius. And also, when you're putting in the cheat codes, if you put in a curse word like all of a sudden Spider-Man drops down and drop kicks it, and it turns into like fudge or fun, and he changes it to a new word, and I thought that was hysterical. And that's just for adults, because as a kid I couldn't discover that because I didn't know what a curse word was, and now it's like, oh, that's funny. And also at the end, like, I've kind of gone over the game a little bit broadly, but I'm not going to go down to distinct detail. Like, remember the level where you're running over to J. Jonah Jameson's Daily Bugle office, the same from Scorpion? That was a level. You fight Scorpion. The cops chase you with the helicopter and shoot at you. That was a pretty badass level. But at the end of it, the humor, when it wraps up and all the bad guys are in jail, in a jail cell playing Go Fish, that was funny. But the last level is scary, man. It's scary. Forget about getting shot at by cops in a helicopter like it's some kind of horrifying chase where the choppers are trying to murder your ass. Forget about a 200-foot Mysterio. I'm talking about Carnage and Doc Ock morphing together to become the scariest effing character in a game ever. For me. Because I haven't played a lot of horror games, but he was scary. Doc Ock Carnage, or whatever name you want to call him, I have no idea what his specific name would be. He was scary because it's like Carnage, but he's more beastly, he's bigger, he's like as big as Venom, but even a little bit bigger yet. He's scary, he's got a monster roar, he's got the Doc Ock arms, that's horrifying, and he's chasing you down a shaft. You're trying to get out, the whole thing's blowing up and he's on your ass. That is scary still. That is still scary. I was like, oh my god, this is creepy, and I remember it from my childhood. I've been scarred. I couldn't beat that level. I'd have to hand it off like, can you beat it? It's scary and it's hard. And I still barely, I don't know how I won. It is so hard because you have to sometimes jump up or drop down and you're turning, and I think it's something almost like Metal Gear Solid. It had weird controls because the way you follow it, the camera follows, and going around corners you have to, it's not like the camera's like, okay, you're running and it turns with you. It's like the camera is put on a certain spot and you have to maneuver around the vents like without the aid of the camera. So like I'm trying to run and then turn this way, but I can't exactly tell where to turn because of the camera, and it's messing me up, and he's getting close, and he's close, and I just get on there. It's terrifying. And now Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro. Very much the same game, all they added was web armpits and the lines on his suit. A bit of a more interesting story, kind of a mystery, even though you know it's like Mysterio stole this like magic vest thing that runs on what was it, diamonds or something that could enhance his powers, but it's like you're following dudes in trench coats with the briefcase and all that, and you're getting to places. You deal with guys like Shocker, Sandman, on a couple occasions Sandman, the Beetle, Hammerhead, Electro, badass Electro on a rooftop. That was a great fight. This game kind of improves a little bit on the fighting. It's a little better. Web swing, you can actually go on the streets now if the level needs you to. It's not like, oh, there's the fog and it's gonna kill you. Electro's a pretty badass villain, and it's not the Jamie Foxx one. It is the one with the electric starfish basically on his face. And I like that Electro too. That's a funny one. He looks goofy, but he's scary because he's just like zzz, dead. Some of the other villains, Hammerhead, they do an Untouchables parody where Robert De Niro's like bashes that guy's head and all that at the table, and they do kind of a riff off that. Like this game and the last one with their sense of humor with pop culture references is making me have a nerdgasm. And I believe this is the game they do the Die Hard reference in the vest where Vents, not vest. Yeah, Spider-Man puts on a vest and goes like, yippee-ki-yay. No, he drops in the vents or something. He's like, come out to the coast, have a few laughs, something like that. I was just like, ah! The game's a little bit more cinematic, it looks a little better. And so with the cutscenes, I like that. The cutscenes look a little bit cooler. There's a level or two that really drive me nuts. Specifically the airport level, where you go to get them at the airport, they're gonna get on a plane, things change, you have to stop this airplane from crashing and blowing up because the pilot's unconscious. That level made me want to kill myself. I wanted to pull my hair out. Like, he's driving and there's all these explosive things that you have to like get ahead of the plane, throw them out of the way before it like crashes and blows up, and then there's doors you gotta open, and the plane goes so quick, and I think it was on easy or normal, and it was driving me crazy. Like 20 times I played that part, and at the end I was just like, fuck you, pilot, you motherfucker! And I was so mad. I was flipping my shit. And then I eventually beat it, and then I was happy again. But man, for a while that level was the bane of my existence. It picked me up, it broke me over its knee, and it was going to destroy Gotham while I laid there crippled and crying. But I eventually rose up and punched it in the damn face. I did a Batman analogy for a Spider-Man game. You know you're in the right place. This game, like the other one, has some great variety with stuff, costumes, interesting level layouts where like no level will play the same way as any other level. They all got different objectives and ways to beat them and stuff. It's neat, you know, it's not like, oh, and then same level, do the same shit as last time. It's like, this level you gotta do this, unlock stages to get across a train yard. This one you gotta beat up all the dudes in the town and actually seek them out to find the dude you're looking for. Like, there's interesting things. That was a lot of pop. I like that it doesn't play so linear and annoying like some games might. And also the variety is you can wrap it in different costumes. You can unlock like Silver Armored Spider-Man, the Ben Reilly Spider-Man, Scarlet Spider, The Amazing Bag Man, which is one of my favorites. Spider-Man like Fantastic Four suit with a bag on his head. Right on. And around the end levels it got a little tricky because there's one you have to climb up a large wall and Electro shooting lightning at you. That one kind of pissed me off because it kept knocking me down to the bottom and it made me want to die, but I eventually beat it, went up to the, not ceiling, the roof, and kicked his little ass, although he did electrocute me a bit. And then again you get another level with the dudes from the second game in jail, right across from the dudes from the first game in jail, and they're like, Doc Ock is bashing his head in Electro's like looking at them. These games are nostalgic, they're fun, they're still, you pick them up and play them now, they're still fun games that you will enjoy. I think it helps a little that I did play them in my childhood, but they're still fun, they're good, they play better than some other games these days. Like as far as Spider-Man games go, these are up there at the top with the best. And the best is, there's very few great Spider-Man games in my opinion, because there is so many, but it's like Ultimate Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, and these two games I just talked about. Anything else really? People like those new ones like Shattered Dimensions and Web of Shadows. The Amazing Spider-Man movie games are awful. So there's a lot. Spider-Man 3, the movie game, that was so generic and just based off the second one. There's a lot of bad ones, but the good ones, these are right up there with them. They hold up so well. I really enjoy them. They're cinematic fun, they're really cool. They're not overly complex, which might be a complaint because there's not all these cool, amazing, awesome Spider-Man things you can do. It's like, you can shoot webs, web swing, climb up the walls, punch and kick. And you know, there's a couple things like make Spider-Man boxing gloves, build a dome of webs and explode it to send dudes flying. There's a couple neat little things. You can get, like electric webs is one of the cool ones. The fight with the lizard in this game, the second one, that was a scary fight. That was scary because I actually don't remember if you fight Lizard in the first or if you just deal with his lizard goons. I don't remember. But in the second game, Lizard's another scary fight and you gotta shoot him with tranquilizer built into your webs and stuff. So there's cool stuff going on in these games, really dig. I'd give Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro a 10 out of 10. Love these games. They're fantastic. Love them to death. So comment below if you've played this game, tell me what you think of them. Tell me what's your favorite Spider-Man game. And thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.